Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. We'll start off with a few questions from the fans. Firstly, we've had a question come in about the players going over to the fans before and after games. Is that something we could look at ahead of the new season?
Yeah, certainly. It's something. I don't think it's an issue. It's something we've done in the past, and if it gets the fans geared up to get into the game, then certainly something I'll run past Gary, and he'll speak to the players. But I can't see why not. It's fair call.
How much of an impact would it be for the fans? What sort of difference will that make?
Well, if that's what they're asking for, and it makes the interaction and then gel, and they both get into the game together, then yeah, why not? Let's have a go at it. And like I said, I'll speak to Gary. I'd certainly recommend we do that and show our appreciation for them. So yeah, I think it's fair.
Just a second question from the fans. That on the club website, we've still got players who have left the club now. I understand that's something we are sorting out once we've got a full squad list, which we have got now.
Well,
we're sorting out.
Yeah, well, it's not as easy as that, and that's your boy's job. But it's we're just waiting for the kit to arrive. We're trying to make everyone on there look the same and wear the same kit as you see of last year. So. We're hoping for the kit to arrive this week, and when it's all done, then you boys will obviously go down and get your photos, and I'm sure you've got all your backroom stuff sorted out with what's going on there. So hopefully that'll be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Moving on to activities on the field, we're close to the pre-season games starting now. Excitement must be building for you, Gary, and the rest of the players.
Yeah, it is. Like I say, we're all wanting to see these players play, and I've spoke to Mark Aston a couple of days ago, and obviously they look like they're getting things sorted out there and now, and try to see what sort of team he's playing. He's playing the team he's got. But, at the moment they've probably got about 20 players or a little bit more, so they'll play them, so they'll be strong. We all know they've got some cracking players there who have stayed with them, so it'll be a real good test for us, and it'll be a tough head out for both teams, and I'm looking forward to it, and it should be good. And I know the fans are looking forward to it. The players are certainly looking forward to it. They had a real tough weekend last weekend, on the camp, and by all accounts they crammed in nearly a week's worth of work in a day, which they were pretty tired at the end of it.
We've mentioned the addition of Reece Lovegrove numerous times over the pre-season. Is this where he really earns his coin, if you like, and these last few weeks before the first few games start, of getting the players on the edge of where they need to be?
No, it's a process. He'll earn his coin at the end of the season. If he keeps us, the process is that him and Gary and Pete and Andrew have got in their system what they plan to do. It's a long season, and it's no good getting out of the blocks real quick and starting like a house on fire and then petering out at the end of the year. We need to come good at the right time of the year, and that's what those blokes know. That's what they get paid for, and that's hopefully what we'll see bear the fruits of Reece and Gary's, and then what their plans at the back end of the season. So I know the boys are wanting to get out on the field and all that, but talking to the coaching staff and my meetings with Gary is, it's a long year, and we need to be ready at the right end of the season.
We know the most successful team are with that, the one that's the most consistent this season. Apart from obviously Toronto with the money they've spent, who are you looking out for as our main rivals for promotion this year?
Oh, listen, there's a few. Barrow's always really tough. Workington, Whitehaven's always tough places to go. I think York. York have been. Say they've had some turmoil, but I think they've been going about their business very quietly, and they've assembled a side there. So, I'm not going to say they're going to be a surprise package or anything, because they're a good, very good side. So we know that. And you've got your regulars, your Hunslets, your Keithleys, but, listen, if you start focusing on those sort of teams and your boys get up for them teams, we all know that you'll come unstuck against the other team. So no game's easy. Newcastle recruited well. Coventry, Oxford, South Wales, all these teams are another year older. So if you go down there thinking you're going to put a score on them and that, you get beat, and we know that. So it's a tough league. What we need to do is just focus on ourselves and prepare well, and we feel we've put some vital people in place, and we've signed some vital players to set a culture and a standard that we want to get to here. So we'll see. We won't know a lot until probably after 6 or 7 games, and then we should feel we should know what direction we're heading in. But we're certainly going to have a crack at it, and so are 6 or 7 others. So it's going to be a cracking season, I think, for everyone. Toronto, I've spoke to Brian Noble last week, and they're not. They've got a real good coaching staff there with him and Paul Rowley, and Nobby's there, and then you've got the other backroom team with Fogarty and those sort of people, and they're not mugs, so they're not foolish enough to think, well, we've got the money, we're going to come in and we're going to walk the league. They know that. They know it's going to be tough, and probably every team they play is going to be a challenge for them. So it's going to be a tough season, but hopefully it's going to generate a lot of interest with having them in our league as well.
And obviously the way the fixtures have fallen, it'll be Toronto who visit the Chemo this season. How important is it that we make this somewhat of a fortress at the Chemo? Obviously this ground is probably the best for facilities, bar none really, in League One. So
yeah, and everyone knows that, and so that's what I mean. Everyone comes here and ramps up. We played London in the iPro Cup, and they beat us. So they knocked us out of the cup on our own home ground, which is tough to take. So we know, we need to make it a fortress, but first and foremost, we need to just focus on winning games and not worry about how we do that. Just do it, and be consistent on the road. That's a big one. If in any league you're in, if you can pick some points up on the road, then you and win your home games, then you go close. So we'll be ramping that Toronto game up. Brian Noble's coming down to the club over the next week or two, and they've got a lot of pre-match stuff that they can offer us, and it's a juicy looking game already, I think, and everyone's looking forward to it. So why shouldn't we go and shout about it and tell people, Toronto's coming to keep mode? It's not every day. It's sort of an international flavour game, and obviously it's going to be live on the TV and showing in plenty of countries around the world. So we want to showcase Donny and do Donny proud, and we'll see what happens in the 80 minutes. But it's unique, something to look forward to.
Just finally then, the Oxford game that was scheduled for March 26th has now been moved. Could you just touch on that and explain to the fans?
Oh, listen, it's something that happens, and again, it's about showcasing our stadium. They're live on Sky Sports, and I think it's fantastic. And the same thing would have happened if they had a game and Sky asked us to play on live on the Sky. Then obviously the football game will get moved. So it's nothing to do with it's all about Rovers. And let's get it straight. We're one club. Our club's playing live on Sky. Good on them. I'm all for it. The Toronto game clashed with them. We're playing live on TV. Well, the TV game will take the preference all the time. So good on them. The Oxford game, fair play to Oxford. We've had some contact with them. They're not trying to be obstructive or anything. They're really trying to work with us to rearrange it. It's looking tough for the Friday they can't do. So we'll look at the Saturday if it's doable, but there is clauses in contracts, so we have to just check on them with them. But if not, we'll fit the game in there at some stage in the season if we can't fit it in on that weekend. Ideally, we'd like to fit it in on that weekend.
All right, Carl, thank you.
Cheers.